If you want a training gym that keeps getting better over time and consistently rises to your high standards, well, then you've got to consistently collect feedback. And when we do get feedback, it's not always obvious what to make of it. In this video, I'll show you a simple system for collecting feedback, processing it and analyzing it, and taking action. My name is Mark Fisher from businessforunicorns.com, and I have not always loved feedback. True story, in the beginning of Mark Fisher Fitness, Michael Keeler would hide feedback from me because he knew that I was thin-skinned and weak. But here's the good news. If you understand the value of feedback, if you appreciate it intellectually, if you understand this is necessary. I can't say I particularly love getting critical feedback, but well, 12 years in, friends, let me tell you, I've heard a lot of very nasty things.
Paper bitch. Paper bitch.
I don't like that, actually. I know you guys think it's fun, but I don't like that.
And I don't like it, but I understand the context. It doesn't hit me the same way it did. And also I understand that feedback is just data. So remember, you don't always need to take feedback. And in fact, you shouldn't, because sometimes feedback is wrong. But by asking, you'll start to see trends. And trends are really what we're looking for. We're looking to separate the signal from the noise. Or as Seth Godin says, don't confuse proximity and volume with accuracy. Which is to say, sometimes we overweight how fresh something is, how recently we heard it, the emotional angst and or anger and or rage of the person giving it with it being accurate. And we want to avoid that. So we're looking for the signal and not these one-off noise. Now, if you're looking for more resources for your mental self-care, to really get your mind right as an entrepreneur, go to the video description and check on my links to watch the videos, how to get out of a funk, and creating positive momentum. Remember, you've got to protect your confidence as an entrepreneur. A lot of this game, it's an inside game, it's an energy game. So take that stuff seriously. Number 2, now that we've appreciated the value of feedback, create a system to get consistent feedback. So we need to choose the frequency, how often we're asking for feedback. Is it daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly? We need to choose the medium. How are we collecting the feedback? Is this via some digital email survey? Is it via something native perhaps in your booking platform? And 3, if you have the ability to customize, we need to determine what are the questions that we're going to ask. Now, a key point here for all of these are you want to make it easy. If someone's giving you feedback, it is a gift, truly. It is something they're doing to help you by taking some time to think and provide you perspective. It takes effort, so make it easy for them. Now, I'm gonna give you 3 tiers based on the size and complexity of your training gym. The first one is easy. So let's keep this simple. Let's say if you don't have a big staff, you don't have a ton of clients, let's do a full survey once every 3 months. That's the frequency. Let's do it via email. You can create a simple Google form for free if you have Google Suites. And you wanna settle on, let's say 3 to 4 questions on a scale of 1 to 10. So these could be things like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how clean is our facility? On a scale of 1 to 10, how welcome did you feel when you entered our facility? In addition to a handful of 1 to 10 questions, which are very easy to answer, I think you should have one non-required open-ended field where you ask, is there anything else you'd like us to know? So people can provide more context if they want, and a non-required field for their name and their contact information. In some situations, if the feedback is unclear and you have their name, well, that's great. Then you can do follow-up questions. I do think you should leave it up to them because a lot of individuals are not going to give critical feedback if their name is attached. It's not ideal. It is what it is, but I think you should ask anyway, and I think you should reserve the right to preserve their anonymity. Here's another strategy you're doing. This one is a little bit more frequent, but overall pretty simple. Mark Fisher Fitness is going to start, as the time of this recording, in our next monthly Book Your Shit email, where once a month we email active members and let them know the schedule is live for the following month. We're gonna start adding in 1 question on a scale of 1 to 10 to get some more regular ongoing feedback. And our plan is to make this super simple, because it's just 1 question, and we'll shuffle through different questions just to constantly get a little bit of slice of how the ninjas are feeling about Mark Fisher Fitness in general in any number of topics. One other pro tip, at Mark Fisher Fitness, we use an app that bolts onto MindBody Online called FitGrid. This particular platform allows us to automate sending out Zoom links for our virtual classes. It has internal logic to send out a survey to each member every 12 months per coach. The first time they take with a coach, they will get an email survey. The software is sophisticated enough to not send out that survey to that client about that coach until another 3 months have gone by. And what's really valuable here is it means every week we're getting a data set of 20, 30, 40 survey scores that allow us to keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening in real time, how our clients enjoying their experience. And what's great is it's all done in the platform, so we don't have to do any exporting to spreadsheets, which we've done in the past, and that's annoying. Finally, I'll say briefly, one more underestimated place to gather feedback is an analog suggestion box.
So let's see what people really think about me.
Just remember to have thick skin, okay?
Okay, my skin is fine, all right? So shut it.
This can be a very valuable thing to have there because some people aren't going to do the digital form anyway. And also, if they have a feeling right then and there, they can just jot it down, drop in the box, and then you process that, ideally no more than once a month, because timely feedback responses matter. 3, you then want to analyze the feedback. So as I suggested, feedback is just data. It's not necessarily correct. So you want to get a fair amount of feedback, and then you need some system for sorting through what's true and what's not true.
Okay, this one's gotta be a goof. Not a suggestion.
Because you get to decide if you're gonna take that feedback as actionable or not. Now, to state the obvious here, things you hear repeatedly are going to be a little bit more credible than things you only hear once ever. So we are looking for trends. That's, I think, kind of the main way of analyzing feedback effectively. Additionally, semi-unpopular opinion. Ready for this? I think you should bias towards your favorite clients. We care about everyone's opinions, but there are some people whose opinions we care about more, right? So when you're creating your business, if you get feedback from, let's say, the top 5-10% of clients that just happen to represent your ideal avatar, you love working with them, they're easy to work with, they invest in your business, those individuals, you want to pay extra special careful attention to any feedback they give you about your business, because you might say you're trying to build a business for that dream client. 2 other points here. Reminder, you want to ask follow-up questions if the feedback is general. So if you get a general piece of feedback like, the magic is gone. True story, I haven't actually heard that in maybe 2 years now, so I guess we're due. But that is a piece of feedback we've heard pretty consistently every 3 to 6 months. We'll get a piece of feedback that says the magic is gone. Well, here's the thing. Your job when analyzing feedback is you want to find out what are the behaviors you're seeing so you can change behaviors. I'm not saying that the magic is gone is necessarily bad feedback, because that is helpful, that individuals saying there's something that's not working for me now that's different than the way it was, but you want to ask follow-up questions to figure out what behaviors were you seeing? Describe it to me like it's being filmed that make you feel like the magic is gone, because it's the behaviors that can be changed. Now again, if it's anonymous, you can do your best to unpack that, but it's obviously a lot harder, whereas if you can ask follow-up questions, it's important to appreciate most people in the world are, if they're willing to give you feedback, are not gonna be good at it, because it's just not something we're trained on. A lot of us are not great at it. Speaking of, finally, I wanna make the point, do not discount feedback because of delivery.
This one's upside down. I shall discard it as a goof.
It's a common challenge that you run into when getting feedback is if it's delivered in a hateful, cutting way that seems designed to cut you to the core, well, you still have to ask, is the content valuable? Because sometimes some of the most unfair, poorly timed, hurtful, ridiculous feedback has a seed of something very, very valuable that you wouldn't find out through any other method. So don't discount the content of the feedback just because the delivery is horrible. And reminder, you don't have to take action on all feedback. It's just data. You want help building more courage to go your own way? Go into the video description box below and watch my video on fitness, business, authenticity. And while you're there, you know what else would be authentic? Would be hitting smash on the subscribe button to reflect your enjoyment of my video shares. Finally, of course, the 4th step is we want to take action on the feedback. You want to acknowledge and thank the client for sharing feedback with you, presuming if they give their name. If and when they give their name, if they have very specific feedback, either critical or also positive, you want to respond to them and thank them in a timely manner. Now, this is a great moment where you could ask follow-up if you have follow-up questions, but at the very least, you want to get people in the habit of knowing your business is safe to get feedback. Feedback is appreciated, it's welcome, and we want it. Additionally, you want to let them know next steps and timelines for when that's going to be happening. Because one thing that is very discouraging is when you take the time to give feedback, if you don't hear anything and if nothing happens, it starts to feel as if, well, why should I give feedback anyway? Nothing's gonna change. And then of course, you wanna do the thing. You want to do the thing they said you could if you wanted, again, depending on the nature of the feedback of the person. Maybe send another email to let them know, we did this thing. We took action based on what you said. All right, friends, well, this is a high-level overview. Feedback is a really big topic. I'll give you a quick book recommendation. The book, Thanks for the Feedback, is excellent. It is one of those books I reread every couple of years. It's truly wonderful overview of why feedback is so hard for many people to receive and what we can do as feedback receivees to more effectively use feedback to serve our missions, to become who we most want to be in the world and take care of the communities that we feel called to serve. Friends, thank you so much as always for checking out this video. I will see you next time where I will share more actionable tips, psychological frameworks, and philosophy.